20 years after Jeffrey Epstein was first investigated, the federal government is still missing legal deadlines, releasing documents that are entirely blacked out, and quietly removing files from its own website. This isn't about new accusations. It's about what the Justice Department says exists and what it says doesn't, and why those stories don't line up. Tonight, we're going to walk through the timeline and identify where it breaks. In March of 2005, Palm Beach police received a report from the family of a 14-year-old girl who said she had been molested inside Jeffrey Epstein's home. Her account was corroborated by several other underage girls, each describing the same pattern: being recruited to perform what were described as massages. In May of 2006, Palm Beach officials charged Epstein with multiple counts of unlawful sex with a minor. The case was sent to a grand jury by State Attorney Barry Krischer. In 2007, federal prosecutors prepared an indictment. What followed was a year of negotiations between Epstein's attorneys and the U.S. Attorney's Office, then led by Alexander Acosta. That process ended in a secret plea agreement. Epstein ultimately received an 18-month sentence. He served 13 months and was granted work release during incarceration, an outcome highly unusual for defendants without Epstein's wealth and connections. In March of 2011, the Daily Mail published an interview with Virginia Roberts Jeffrey, who alleged that she traveled with Epstein to London at the age of 17 and spent an evening dancing with Prince Andrew. Jeffrey became one of the most prominent public accusers associated with the Epstein case. Sadly, she died in 2025, April. Her attorney, Carrie Loudon, later stated publicly that Jeffrey had shown no signs of suicidal ideation and had actually been discussing future plans. Jeffrey's death is relevant because it permanently foreclosed the possibility of sworn testimony related to ongoing document disputes. With each turn in this case, questions multiplied rather than having been resolved. In March of 2001, Epstein took what would later become one of the most scrutinized photographs in the case. The image shows Prince Andrew with his arm around Jeffrey, while Ghislaine Maxwell stands behind them. The photograph triggered a crisis within the British royal family. Prince Andrew was stripped of his honorary military titles and withdrew from public duties. In July of 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested at Teterboro Airport on federal sex trafficking charges. 35 days later, he was found dead in his jail cell. The circumstances surrounding Epstein's death remain disputed. Years later, contradictions continued. In a February 2021 interview on Fox News, Attorney General Pam Bondi stated that an Epstein client list was on her desk. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles later stated in interviews with journalist Chris Whipple that Bondi mishandled early requests for Epstein-related information and that no such client list exists. Wiles characterized the reporting as a political hit piece, a claim others have disputed. The Epstein Files Transparency Act on November 18, 2025 was passed, and President Trump promptly signed it into law the following day. The law required the Department of Justice to release all relevant Epstein documents within 30 days. That deadline has passed. On December 20th, the DOJ released a large batch of materials, many of them heavily redacted, including hundreds of pages rendered entirely black. At least 16 files later disappeared from the Department of Justice website. The DOJ has not commented on the discrepancy, but some of the missing files later reappeared. The episode raised serious questions about transparency. Among the released materials are allegations involving President Trump. The DOJ has characterized these allegations as unfounded and false. In FBI case document EFTA 000-20518, dated October 20th, 2020, a woman alleged that Trump raped her, both alone and together with Epstein. The DOJ issued a prompt denial. To be clear, these are allegations contained within FBI case documents. They remain disputed. The complainant later died from a head injury. While responding, officers expressed doubts. The death was ruled self-inflicted. Names within the document are redacted. The same FBI case file includes an interview with a limousine driver who stated that Trump was his passenger in Dallas in 1995 and 1997. The driver reported overhearing disturbing phone conversations involving Epstein. These statements appear in FBI interview notes and are linked in the description below. As of December 28, 2025, the case continues to evolve. On Christmas Eve, the DOJ announced that investigators had uncovered more than 1 million additional Epstein-related documents. On December 26th, former Assistant U.S. Attorney and Watergate prosecutor Nick Ackerman publicly responded to DOJ claims that releasing the documents would take weeks, calling the explanation total nonsense. Ackerman stated that the DOJ had long been aware of the documents' existence, particularly in the Southern District of New York, the same district that prosecuted both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Under Brady obligations, prosecutors are required to disclose all material evidence. If Ackerman's assessment is accurate, the DOJ's explanation raises serious questions. Epstein died in jail of August 2019 before trial. Maxwell's trial concluded on December 30th of 2021. She was convicted of conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors and sentenced to 20 years in prison. The idea that the DOJ was unaware of 1 million pages of material evidence during these prosecution, it strains credulity. The saga continues. Accountability remains unresolved. What matters next are clear explanations, full compliance with the law, and transparency about what remains unreleased and why. Thank you for spending some time with us today. If you value this kind of work, you know what to do. I'm Mike Burns, and this has been the Knuckleball.